Hello guys, news today here. What the heck, what was that? Haha, you got me, but we are going to be talking about him. The goat, the demon, the scapegoat demon, Azazel. This name echoes through the dusty corridors of ancient texts. A sound that carries with it the weight of sin, the desolation of the wilderness, and the shadow of something not quite human. Azazel is one of those figures who lurks just at the edge of our most well-known stories, a character both fascinating and deeply mysterious. He is a puzzle box of a being with pieces scattered across different beliefs and eras, each one revealing a different facet of his identity, and none of them quite giving us the whole picture, which is precisely what makes him so compelling to begin with. We are embarking on a journey into the heart of a very old story. It is a story about blame, about purification, and about what we do with the parts of ourselves we wish to cast away. Azazel stands at the center of this narrative. Not as a hero, and perhaps not even as a simple villain, but as something else entirely. He is a destination for guilt, a name whispered on the Day of Atonement. To understand him is to delve into the very human need to find a place for our darkness, to give it a name and send it away from us, into the wastelands where we hope it can no longer cause us any harm. The story begins not with fire and brimstone, but with a solemn ritual under the desert sun. His presence feels ancient, like a name carved into rock long before the great empires rose and fell. He is a concept given form, a supernatural entity tied to a specific powerful act of religious significance. When we first meet him, he isn't a demon king commanding legions from a fiery throne, but something far more ambiguous. He is simply the recipient of the goat that carries the sins of an entire nation, a spectral figure tied to a place of utter desolation. This initial ambiguity is the seed from which a forest of later legends and interpretations would grow, each branch twisting the story in a new and often more sinister direction over many centuries. So, let us begin. Let us pull back the heavy curtain of time and scripture to get a closer look at this enigmatic figure. We will trace his origins in the Hebrew Bible, explore the solemn ritual that made his name famous, and watch as his character transforms through the ages. We will see how different cultures have adopted and adapted his story, turning him from a desert spirit into a fallen angel and a teacher of forbidden knowledge. The tale of Azazel is not just about a single entity, it is about how our understanding of good, evil, and the spaces in between has evolved over countless generations. The name Azazel first appears in the pages of the Hebrew Bible, specifically within the book of Leviticus. It emerges during the detailed instructions for the Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, a day of profound religious importance for the ancient Israelites. Here, in the 16th chapter, the name is mentioned 4 times in a context that is both precise and maddeningly vague. The text does not offer a biography or a detailed description. It simply presents the name as part of a sacred ceremony, assuming perhaps that its original audience already understood its meaning perfectly. This lack of explanation has fueled centuries of debate and speculation among scholars, theologians, and storytellers alike. The very origin of the name Azazel is a linguistic puzzle. Some scholars believe it is a compound of 2 Hebrew words, Ez, meaning goat, and Azal, meaning to go away or disappear. In this interpretation, Azazel would simply mean the goat that departs or the scapegoat, referring to the animal itself rather than a separate entity. This reading paints the ritual in a more symbolic light, where the name describes the function of the goat. However, another compelling theory suggests that Azazel is a proper name for a powerful spirit or demon believed to inhabit the desolate wilderness, a being to whom the sin-laden goat was dispatched. This makes the story far more personal and supernatural. This second interpretation, which posits Azazel as a specific being, has been the more influential one throughout history. It transforms the ritual from a purely symbolic act into a direct transaction with a supernatural power dwelling in the untamed lands beyond civilization. This entity was seen as a primal force, perhaps a desert deity from an older pre-monotheistic tradition that was later incorporated into Israelite practice. The wilderness, in the ancient mindset, was not merely an empty space, it was a realm teeming with unseen forces, chaotic and dangerous. And Azazel was a personification of that very wildness and danger, making him the perfect recipient for the people's collective transgressions. So when we encounter the name Azazel in Leviticus, we are standing at a crossroads of interpretation. Is it a description of an action, or is it the name of a powerful ancient being? The text itself remains silent on the matter, a deliberate ambiguity that has allowed the figure of Azazel to grow and evolve in our collective imagination. This initial mystery is the fertile ground from which all the later, more elaborate myths would spring. It is the question mark at the heart of the story, inviting us to fill in the blanks with our own fears, beliefs, and creative interpretations of what lurks in the desolate places of the world. The ritual described in Leviticus 16 is one of the most vivid and symbolic ceremonies in the entire Hebrew Bible. On the Day of Atonement, the high priest of Israel was instructed to take 2 identical male goats on behalf of the entire community. These goats were brought to the entrance of the tabernacle, the portable earthly dwelling of God. There, in a moment of high drama, the priest would cast lots to determine the fate of each animal. One lot was marked for the Lord, designating it as a holy sacrifice. The other lot, however, was marked for Azazel, sealing its very different and mysterious destiny in the wilderness. The goat designated for the Lord was to be sacrificed as a sin offering, its blood used to purify the holy sanctuary from the impurities of the people. This was a common and understood part of religious practice, an act of atonement meant to mend the relationship between humanity and the divine. The blood of the perfect animal was a powerful agent of cleansing, a way to wash away the stains of wrongdoing and restore a state of grace. This part of the ritual was familiar, a comforting and structured process that brought a sense of order and forgiveness to the community, reaffirming their covenant with their God through a sacred and solemn act of worship. The fate of the second goat, the one chosen for Azazel, was starkly different and far more theatrical. The high priest would lay both of his hands upon the head of this living goat and confess over it all the iniquities, transgressions, and sins of the people of Israel. In this powerful symbolic act, the collective guilt of the nation was believed to be transferred directly onto the animal. The goat, now laden with this immense spiritual burden, was not killed. Instead, it was led away into the wilderness by a designated man, taken to a remote and uninhabited land, and released to wander until it perished, carrying the sins of the people with it. This goat became known as the scapegoat, from the Hebrew Azazel, the goat that goes away. Its journey into the desert was a physical manifestation of the removal of sin. By sending the goat to Azazel, the community was externalizing its moral failings, casting them out into a place of chaos and desolation, far from the sacred center of their world. Azazel in this context serves as the ultimate destination for all that is impure. Whether a place, a spirit, or a concept, Azazel's role was to receive the unwanted darkness of the human heart, allowing the people to begin anew, cleansed and unburdened for another year. As centuries passed, the figure of Azazel began to undergo a dramatic transformation. The ambiguous desert entity mentioned in Leviticus started to take on a much darker and more defined persona in later Jewish texts, particularly in non-canonical works like the Book of Enoch. Written during the Second Temple period, roughly 516 BCE to 70 CE, these texts were filled with elaborate angelology and demonology, and Azazel was given a major promotion in the celestial hierarchy of fallen beings. He was no longer just a passive recipient of a sin-laden goat, but an active agent of corruption and a leader among the rebellious angels. In the Book of Enoch, Azazel is identified as one of the chief leaders of the Watchers, a group of angels who descended to earth, took human wives and fathered a race of giants known as the Nephilim. This act alone was a grave transgression, a mixing of the divine and mortal realms that brought chaos and violence into the world. But Azazel's sins went even further. He was depicted as a celestial teacher who bestowed forbidden knowledge upon humanity, a kind of demonic Prometheus who armed mortals with skills they were not meant to possess. This new role marked a significant shift from his original, more passive character in the biblical narrative. The specific knowledge that Azazel taught was detailed and destructive. He was said to have taught men the art of warfare, how to forge swords, knives, shields, and breastplates. He showed them the secrets of metalworking and revealed the hidden treasures of the earth. For women, he introduced the art of deception by teaching them how to make cosmetics, to paint their eyelids, and to use precious stones and dyes to adorn themselves. These arts were framed as sources of corruption, leading to vanity, violence, and godlessness. Azazel was thus reimagined as the ultimate corrupting influence, the one who introduced the tools of sin into the world. This evolution from a vague wilderness spirit to a prominent fallen angel is a fascinating example of how mythologies grow and adapt over time. As beliefs about angels, demons, and the nature of evil became more complex, figures like Azazel were fleshed out to fit into these new theological frameworks. He became a primary antagonist, a scapegoat not just for the sins of Israel on one day of the year, but for the origin of sin and corruption in all of humanity. This transformation cemented his legacy as a powerful demonic figure, a reputation that would follow him into Christian and Islamic traditions and influence his portrayal for millennia. Azazel's story did not remain confined to a single tradition. His enigmatic nature allowed him to be woven into the fabric of multiple major world religions, each interpreting him in a slightly different way. In Jewish tradition, particularly in rabbinic literature and the Kabbalah, his identity continued to be a subject of intense debate. Some sources maintain the older view of him as a name for the desolate cliff from which the goat was cast, while others embraced the Enochian narrative, viewing him as a powerful angel of destruction or a seductive force of evil. This duality persists within Judaism, making him a complex figure of both ritual and folklore. Christianity, drawing heavily on the Hebrew Bible and later Jewish apocalyptic literature like the Book of Enoch, tended to solidify Azazel's demonic identity. Early church fathers like Origen saw Azazel as a symbol for Satan. The ritual of the scapegoat was interpreted as a prefiguration of Christ's sacrifice, with one crucial difference. While the goat for Azazel carried sin away to the demonic realm, Jesus Christ conquered sin and death entirely. In this framework, Azazel represents the ultimate adversary, the embodiment of the evil that Christ came to defeat. This interpretation stripped away much of the ambiguity and firmly placed Azazel in the camp of the devil. In Islamic tradition, the name Azazel is sometimes associated with Iblis, the primary figure of evil in the Quran before his fall from grace. According to some Islamic narrations and legends, Azazel was the original name of a powerful and pious jinn, or sometimes an angel, who worshipped God fervently for thousands of years. However, his pride became his downfall when God commanded the angels to bow down to the newly created Adam. Azazel, believing himself superior because he was created from smokeless fire while Adam was made from clay, refused the command. For this act of disobedience and arrogance, he was cast out of heaven and became the accursed Shaitan, or Satan. This cross-cultural journey reveals how a single, mysterious name from an ancient text can become a vessel for diverse theological ideas. Whether seen as a desert demon, a fallen angel, a name for Satan, or a symbol of prideful rebellion, Azazel reflects the specific concerns and beliefs of the culture interpreting him. His story is a testament to the interconnectedness of these Abrahamic faiths, as they all grapple with the same foundational tales of creation, sin, and redemption. Each tradition molds Azazel to fit its own narrative, yet the core essence of a powerful otherworldly entity tied to rebellion and impurity remains remarkably consistent across them all. One of the most compelling and detailed myths surrounding Azazel is his central role in the story of the Watchers, as vividly recounted in the apocryphal Book of Enoch. This legend offers a dramatic and fleshed-out backstory that goes far beyond the brief mention in Leviticus. In this narrative, the Watchers are a group of 200 angels, led by figures like Samyaza and Azazel, who were assigned to watch over humanity from the heavens. However, they became consumed with lust for human women, finding them beautiful and, honestly, just irresistible. They made a pact among themselves to descend to earth, disobeying divine command, to take these women as their wives. This forbidden union between celestial beings and mortal women resulted in the birth of the Nephilim, a race of ferocious giants who wreaked havoc upon the earth. These giants consumed all of the food produced by humanity, and when that was not enough, they began to turn on the humans themselves, devouring them. Their insatiable hunger and violent nature brought immense suffering and destruction to the world, corrupting the divine order and filling the earth with bloodshed. The cries of oppressed humanity rose up to the heavens, pleading for intervention from the righteous angels and from God himself, setting the stage for a divine judgment against the fallen Watchers. While the leader Samyaza is blamed for initiating the pact, it is Azazel who is singled out for a special kind of corruption. He became the great teacher of forbidden knowledge, a celestial rebel who armed humanity with the tools of its own demise. He taught men the secrets of metallurgy, how to craft swords and other weapons of war, which directly led to increased violence and conflict. He also revealed the secrets of cosmetics and adornments to women, which the text frames as leading to vanity, seduction, and spiritual decay. Azazel therefore was not just a participant in the rebellion, he was its chief architect of corruption, actively spreading sin by unveiling celestial secrets. The legend concludes with divine retribution. The archangels under God's command are sent to intervene. The angel Raphael is specifically tasked with punishing Azazel. He is instructed to bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness. Raphael bound him and cast him into a desolate place in the desert called Dudael, covering him with sharp and jagged rocks. He was to remain there in total darkness until the great day of judgment, when he would be cast into the fire to be destroyed forever. This powerful myth cemented Azazel's image as a bound demon, a source of ancient evil imprisoned within the earth, waiting for an ultimate fiery end. The enduring fascination with Azazel for mythology fans and history buffs stems from his profound ambiguity and his remarkable evolution. He begins as a mere name in a cryptic ritual, a blank slate onto which centuries of belief and storytelling have been projected. This mystery makes him honestly just irresistible. Unlike well-defined figures with clear-cut roles, Azazel invites speculation. Is he a place, a demon, a symbol? The lack of a definitive answer allows for endless interpretation, making him a perfect subject for scholarly debate and creative reimagining. He is a puzzle that can never be fully solved, and for lovers of lore, there is nothing more enticing than an ancient, unsolved mystery. History enthusiasts are drawn to Azazel as a window into the development of religious thought. His transformation from a desert spirit in early Israelite religion to a chief fallen angel in Second Temple Judaism reflects a major shift in theology. It shows how concepts of evil evolved from external chaotic forces of nature into personified moral adversaries. Tracing Azazel's story allows us to see how ancient societies grappled with the problem of evil, developing complex mythologies of fallen angels and demonic tempters to explain the origins of sin and suffering. He is a case study in how myths are not static but are constantly being reinterpreted to meet the needs of new generations. For fans of mythology, Azazel embodies several classic archetypes that make for a compelling character. He is the fallen angel, a figure of tragic grandeur who was once divine but was cast down due to pride or rebellion. He is also the corrupting teacher, a Prometheus-like figure who brings forbidden knowledge to humanity, but with sinister intent rather than a benevolent one. This combination of tragic hero and cunning villain creates a morally complex character who is far more interesting than a simple monster. His story taps into enduring themes of temptation, forbidden knowledge, rebellion against authority, and the seductive nature of sin, making him a timeless figure in the pantheon of mythological beings. Furthermore, Azazel's connection to the tangible ritual of the scapegoat grounds his myth in a very real, visceral human practice. The image of a goat, burdened with the sins of a nation and cast out into the wilderness, is incredibly powerful. It speaks to a deep psychological need to externalize guilt and achieve purification. Azazel, as the entity to whom this goat is sent, becomes the ultimate symbol of this process. This blend of abstract theological concepts and concrete ritual practice gives his story a unique texture, making him not just a character in a text, but a key player in a deeply human drama of sin and redemption that continues to resonate with us today. The legacy of Azazel is not confined to ancient scriptures and forgotten rituals. His echo reverberates through modern culture in countless ways. The very term scapegoat has entered our everyday language, used to describe any person or group unfairly blamed for the mistakes or wrongdoings of others. Every time we use this word, we are unknowingly tapping into the ancient story of the goat sent to Azazel. This linguistic legacy is a testament to the power of the original ritual, a concept so potent that it has survived for thousands of years, long after the ceremony itself ceased to be practiced in its original form. In literature, film, and video games, Azazel continues to be a popular figure, often portrayed as a powerful demon, a fallen angel, or a mysterious antagonist. Authors and creators are drawn to his rich and complex backstory, using him as a source of inspiration for dark fantasy and horror. He has appeared as a villain in comic book series like Marvel's X-Men, as a demon in the television show Supernatural, and as a key figure in various occult and mythological novels. These modern portrayals keep his story alive, introducing him to new audiences and ensuring that his name continues to be associated with rebellion, forbidden knowledge, and ancient evil. His story also continues to hold a mirror up to our own societies. The mechanism of scapegoating is a timeless and often tragic aspect of human behavior. Throughout history, Communities under stress have often sought to purify themselves by identifying an individual or group as the source of all their problems, casting them out to restore a sense of order. The story of Azazel serves as a powerful mythological precedent for this dark social phenomenon. It reminds us of our collective tendency to transfer blame, to create others who can carry our sins for us, allowing us to feel righteous and pure at their expense. Ultimately, the enduring impact of Azazel lies in his representation of the necessary other. He is the darkness that defines the light, the chaos that gives shape to order, the impurity that makes purity meaningful. In the original ritual, he and his goat were essential for the community's spiritual cleansing. His continued presence in our cultural imagination serves a similar purpose, providing a name and a face for the darker aspects of existence that we seek to understand and control. He is a permanent fixture in our mythological landscape because we will always need a wilderness to which we can send our fears and our failings. In conclusion, Azazel is far more than just a footnote in an ancient religious text. He is a figure of incredible depth and adaptability, a mythological entity who has journeyed through millennia, transforming with each new culture and belief system he encountered. From his cryptic origins as a wilderness entity in the Book of Leviticus, to his detailed portrayal as a corrupting fallen angel in the Book of Enoch, and his varied interpretations in Jewish, Christian, and Islamic thought, his story is a rich tapestry of human attempts to grapple with the profound concepts of sin, blame, and purification. He is a character born from mystery, and it is this mystery that has ensured his survival. The power of Azazel's story lies in its connection to the deeply human ritual of the scapegoat. The ceremony on the Day of Atonement was a brilliant piece of psychological and spiritual theater, a physical enactment of the desire to cast off one's burdens and begin anew. Azazel stands as the silent, unseen partner in this drama, the embodiment of the desolate place where sins are sent to be forgotten. His name carries the weight of all the guilt that humanity has sought to displace, making him a symbol not just of evil but of our complex relationship with our own moral failings and our desperate need for a clean slate. The reason people still talk about Azazel today is that he embodies timeless themes that continue to fascinate and disturb us. He represents the allure of forbidden knowledge, the catastrophic consequences of pride and rebellion, and the primal fear of the unknown that lurks beyond the borders of our civilized world. His story is a dark reflection of our own potential for corruption, yet it is also part of a larger narrative of redemption and the possibility of cleansing. He is the adversary, the tempter, and the final destination for our collective guilt, making him an indispensable character in the grand drama of human spirituality. So the next time you hear the term scapegoat, remember the ancient ritual from which it came. Think of the two goats, the solemn high priest, and the desolate wilderness waiting to receive the burden of a nation. And remember Azazel, the enigmatic figure at the heart of it all, the demon, the spirit, the name whispered in the desert. He remains one of mythology's most enduring puzzles, a shadowy figure whose story is forever bound to our own ongoing struggle with the darkness within ourselves, a testament to the fact that some mysteries are so profound, they are destined to be told and retold for all time. So who is Azazel really? Is he just a name from ancient texts, or does he represent something far deeper, something that still echoes in our lives today? In the pages of Scripture, Azazel is the scapegoat, the one sent away, burdened with the sins of others. But this ritual is more than a story, it's a mirror reflecting a universal human impulse. The act of scapegoating, of placing blame on another, of sending our guilt into the wilderness, has shaped cultures, communities, and even our own minds. Azazel, as the scapegoat, becomes a vessel for our darkest secrets, our regrets, and the consequences we wish to escape. He is the embodiment of our desire to cast out what we cannot bear, to make someone or something else responsible for our pain. But what does it mean, psychologically, to have a scapegoat? It means we can avoid facing our own flaws, our own guilt, by projecting them onto another. Societies have always found their Azazels, outsiders, strangers, the misunderstood, those who carry the weight of collective blame. And yet, the scapegoat is always elusive. No matter how many times we try to pin our faults on another, the real source of our troubles remains just out of reach, like smoke slipping through our fingers. Every time we encounter Azazel, in scripture or in myth, we are reminded of this ancient pattern, the urge to escape responsibility, to find relief by sending our burdens away. But the story of Azazel is not just about ancient rituals. It's about us, about how we deal with guilt, forgiveness, and the unknown. When we look for scapegoats, we avoid the hard work of self-reflection. We miss the chance to grow, to heal, to truly understand ourselves. Azazel is the question that never quite gets answered, the riddle at the heart of the scapegoat ritual. He is the darkness at the edge of the wilderness, the unknown that makes us wonder, what are we really running from? And what happens when the scapegoat is gone, when there's no one left to blame? So after all this time, with every retelling and reinterpretation, Azazel still asks us, who do you see in the shadows? And perhaps in searching for his true identity, we are really searching for the courage to face our own. Because the story of Azazel is not just about escaping guilt, it's about the possibility of transformation, if only we dare to look within. In the end, Azazel is both a warning and an invitation. To stop running, to stop blaming, and to finally confront the shadows inside ourselves.